What if the most terrifying object James Webb has ever detected, music, is not a planet, not a black hole, and not even a galaxy, but something that should not exist at all under the rules of the universe we think we understand? Music. For decades, humanity has looked into deep space, believing that reality was strange. Music, yes, but still structured, still predictable, still governed by laws. Music, we could slowly decode. But now, buried inside Webb's most advanced infrared observations, music, something has appeared that is forcing scientists to ask a much darker question. What if the universe is not music, limited to the dimensions we can see? What if what James Webb found is not simply an anomaly in space, but the first visible crack in the structure of music, reality itself? Because the object at the center of this mystery was not discovered through ordinary music observation alone. It emerged through the collision of two of humanity's most powerful tools, the James Webb Space Telescope, music, our greatest eye in the cosmos, and quantum analysis powerful enough to detect hidden mathematical signatures, music, that traditional methods had completely missed. And what those signatures seem to suggest is deeply unsettling. Strange diffraction patterns, distortions in the light that do not behave, music, the way normal physics says they should, repeating structures that look eerily close to music, what some theories predicted might happen if higher dimensions were pressing against our own universe from the outside. And if that is really what this object represents, then this is not just another music, space discovery. This is the kind of revelation that could change physics forever. The story begins in one of the most visually chaotic and fascinating music regions ever observed by modern astronomy, the galaxy cluster known as Abell 2744, often called Pandora's music cluster. James Webb turned its infrared instruments toward this distant music region with the goal of doing what it does best, looking deeper into the universe than any telescope before it, slicing through cosmic dust and uncovering details hidden from every previous generation of observers. What Webb captured was already extraordinary on the surface. Galaxies stretched by a music gravitational lensing, ancient light traveling across incomprehensible distances, and a level of clarity that made even seasoned music astronomers stop and stare. But the real mystery was not obvious at first glance. It was buried inside the structure of the light, music itself. When those images were processed through advanced quantum analysis, something emerged that did not fit cleanly into standard models, music, of astrophysics around certain galaxies inside the cluster. The light showed unusual diffraction, music, patterns and distortions in the infrared spectrum that didn't line up with what conventional physics, music, predicted. This was not just a blurry artifact or a random glitch that could be dismissed with a shrug. These were subtle, repeatable discrepancies, the kind that make scientists' music deeply uncomfortable because they are small enough to be ignored at first, but precise enough to become music dangerous once they keep showing up. Like hearing a strange sound in a house and realizing it, music happens at the exact same time every night. The more closely these patterns were examined, the less accidental they began to feel. And that is where the fear begins to creep in, because astronomy is used to surprises, new stars, hidden galaxies, violent collisions, exotic radiation. The universe is full of chaos. But this was different. This looked structured, not dramatic in the music, cinematic sense, but terrifying in the scientific one. The kind of anomaly that quietly whispers that one of your deepest music assumptions may be wrong. James Webb had not just found something distant. It had found something that seemed to challenge the geometry of reality itself. To understand why this object is so disturbing, music, you have to step back from the image and look at the theory behind it. For decades, music, some of the boldest ideas in theoretical physics have suggested that the universe may contain more dimensions than the three of space and one of time that we directly experience. According to string theory and related frameworks, reality may include additional spatial, music dimensions curled up so tightly that they remain invisible to us, hidden in the fabric of the cosmos. Music, like folds in a sheet too small for the naked eye to see. The math behind these theories has always been seductive, but the problem was obvious. Beautiful, music, equations are not the same as evidence. That is why James Webb's anomaly has caused music such intense interest, because the distortions in the light seem to resemble exactly the kind of subtle signatures some physicists predicted might appear if higher dimensions were interacting with our observable universe. One of the most compelling ideas connected to this possibility is that gravity may not be confined in the same way as other forces. While electromagnetism and nuclear forces, music, seem tightly bound to the dimensions we know, gravity may be leaking into extra dimensions, which could explain why it appears so much weaker than the other fundamental forces. If that sounds abstract, imagine a heavy object pressing down on a mattress from underneath. You may not, music, see the object directly, but you can see the fabric above it bend, stretch, and distort. That is the kind of logic being, music, applied here. Scientists are not necessarily claiming they have seen another dimension directly. They are asking whether the strange bending and behavior of light in this region might be the visible consequence of something deeper pressing against the universe from beyond our normal perception. That music is what transforms this from an interesting anomaly into a terrifying one. Because if the object James Webb detected is really linked to higher, music, dimensions, then the universe is not just bigger than we thought. It is layered. It means reality may have directions, music we cannot move in, spaces we cannot perceive, and structures affecting everything around us without ever fully revealing themselves.